Okay, so now you have finished A Mother in Manville. Was that not the craziest ending? You have all these feelings about this character and you think, oh, it's such a good story, and he's told about his mother, and then you find out he doesn't have a mother, and why would Jerry even do that? Why would he even say that? This is great because it really, really helps us to think about things deep in a deeper way. And then, why didn't the author, the lady who was at the cabin, why didn't she, the narrator, why didn't she know and realize that this was happening? And it's awesome, isn't it? But the literary element that we are looking at is setting. So let's talk about the setting. Now, you notice in the very first part of the story that the author is telling you that, in a description, that high in the Carolina mountains. First, to get us going. So remember, an autobiography is when person A writes about person B, correct? No. What we want to remember is that person A writes about person A. So a biography would mean person A writes about person B, but autobiography means person A writes about person A. And it's a story about the life of the person. And typically we find that you read about the birth, you read about the family, you read about education, you read about their work, and experiences are put into events in the story. So in this excerpt that we're reading from Mark Twain, he's telling us about some of his work experiences. So it's very much focused on the work portion in this chapter, and he tells about the experiences that he has had with his work. And he's so funny. I just love the way he presents this. So he puts them into events, and that helps us to connect with his personal life experiences as it relates to his work. Let's look at the next example and determine what mood is created by this passage. There was a footstep on the stairs, and a beam from the flashlight danced crazily along the peeling wallpaper. Greg held his breath. There was another step and a loud crashing noise as the man banged the pipe against the wooden banister. Greg could feel his temples throb as the man slowly neared them. Greg thought about the pipe, wondering what he would do when the man reached them. What could he do? Well, what feeling or emotion do you experience when you read this? It's a feeling of tension, a feeling of suspense, a feeling of fear maybe. You know, there's a lot of different things that you could feel, different emotions you could feel, but that would be considered the mood of that passage. On the other hand, tone is different. It is the attitude with the author communicates. So it's very similar to the tone of voice. If someone is talking like this, there's a tone of voice that comes across. Or if someone is talking like this, a tone is coming across. And so we use things the author says or attitudes with which you can feel from characters together, the tone. So remember, the emotion is something you feel when you read, and the tone is something the author gives. Now keep in mind, it's important for you to remember that this is not an example of imagery. I smelled the flowers. If we say something about the aroma of the freshly cut roses filled the air, that's appealing to the reader's sense of smell. So that would work. Fresh cut roses would also appeal to the reader's sense of sight. So it's simply just writing that appeals to the reader's senses. So let's look at the example that's in your text there under the imagery section. 4 gray walls and 4 gray towers overlook a space of flowers, and the silent EIL embowers. Now, obviously there's a lot of end rhyme going on there, but 4 gray walls, so they're using color to appeal to our sense of sight and the number 4. And then Tennyson is using imagery in overlook a space of flowers. So instead of saying there were 4 gray walls and 4 gray towers, and then below that there were some flowers, he's putting it into poetry and he's using imagery to engage us. Let's go ahead and talk about rhythm. You've been working with rhythm quite a bit already. So rhythm in poetry is when you have stressed and unstressed syllables. And stress syllables we mark with these lines, and the poems are read to a beat. Da 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 da, like that. And so you're going to look at the rhythm that's expressed in this poem.